Welcome, I'm Steve Good and this is the Scroll Saw Workshop. In today's video I want to build the project that I placed on the website the other day. It's this little scrolled bowl. These bowls seem to be really popular at craft shows. They sell very well. I've actually had 2 or 3 people already write me an email and tell me that they've already sold some of these just this week. So I'm going to take you through this process today and we'll make this little bowl. You can find this pattern at www.scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com. Okay, let's get started. This is what we're after today, is this little scrolled bowl, and I've gone ahead and applied the pattern to the pieces of wood. We've done this in other videos, so I didn't think I need to take you through those steps again. I've cut the pattern, and this is the sides of the bowl, and this is the bottom and the top of the bowl. One of the questions I was asked is, do you cut this pattern out and apply it to multiple pieces of wood? And the answer is no. One of the nice things about this pattern is that it requires so little material. I have 2 6-inch by 6-inch pieces of oak here, and that's what we'll cut this pattern from today. One of the things that makes this bowl look even nicer is if you use a contrasting wood for the top and bottom. So if you had a piece of walnut, or even you could do it just the opposite. You could use the walnut for the bowl and the oak for the top and bottom. Anything like that would look really nice. So go ahead and apply the patterns to your 2 pieces of wood. We'll go to the drill press and we'll cut these entry holes and get started at the scroll saw. One thing I wanted to point out here at the drill press that makes this project a little easier to cut is how I have offset the entry holes on this pattern, so each individual piece has an entry hole that's shifted over by 1 segment of the pattern. It makes it a lot easier to stagger these entry holes because the drill bit is a little bit large. When you go to put this together, it's not as noticeable if you have them staggered out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start cutting these entry holes around this pattern. Okay, we're over here at the scroll saw, and I'm going to cut the top and the bottom of the pattern out first. Thought I would go ahead and give you a close-up of cutting these pieces so you can see the technique for trying to cut a smooth circle out of a piece of wood. Hopefully I won't mess it up too bad. Also, I've got a fan running behind me. It's probably about 102 degrees in my shop right now, so hope it doesn't mess the audio up too bad, but I need this fan today for sure. Sure would like to have an air-conditioned workshop. We'll go ahead and tension this blade up, and I'll begin cutting the bottom of the pattern. Okay, there's our bottom cut out, and if you notice the technique I used there, I basically used my right hand as my pivot point, and I rotated the wood with my left hand. Generally, when you're trying to cut a circle, that's what you want to do. You want to find a good pivot point that you can rotate the wood, and then just go in a smooth, take a smooth cut, let the blade do the work. Don't try to push it, especially on wood like oak where there's some pretty pronounced grain. You'll get to some points where the blade is going to want to try to follow the grain of the wood. So just take your time. Don't have to be in a big hurry here, and you can end up with some pretty good results. In this case, it didn't come out too bad. And now we've got the top and bottom cut, and we can move right along to the interior or the walls of the bowl. So we'll set these aside and grab the bowl itself. Now, one of the questions I was asked through email is, does it matter if you start in the middle and work your way out, or on the outside and work your way in? I have a tendency, and I don't think it really matters, but I have a tendency to start in the middle and work my way out, simply because I like to keep this frame here to hold on to. The bigger a piece that I've got to hold on to, the easier it is for me to turn it. So I would, if it were me, start in the middle and work my way out. Now these inner pieces are fairly small, so you do want to take your time. You can kind of get in a groove on a pattern like this because it's just repetitive cuts. It's the same little loop all the way around. Of course, it'll get larger as you go towards the outside, but on these first 2 or 3 pieces, you probably want to take your time, especially when you're getting back to the end. You don't want to get it too close to where you're going to break it. So we'll go ahead and start this cut. We're down to the last piece we need to cut here before we take this bowl over to the workbench and start to assemble. This piece, probably from beginning to end, if you really tried to produce these bowls in any quantity for a craft show, you could probably get these down to about 20 minutes. If you assembly lined it and did all your pattern preparation the night before and then just cut the next day, you could easily put out 10 of these bowls in an afternoon, fairly leisurely, and I think you'd be happy with the results. And that's the last piece. We'll gather all these pieces together now and take them over to the assembly table, start putting this together, and we'll see what we can do with the finished bowl. I'm back over at the assembly table now, and I'm going to give you a nice close-up view of how this bowl goes together. Fairly obvious. Get your pieces in order so you know from the largest to the smallest. Then you're going to take your bottom, lay it down, and we're going to glue the smallest piece to the bottom. Then what we're going to do is take the next smallest piece and we're going to overlap. If you can see this, I want this to set just like this. In other words, we want the lines that we cut out not to line up. We're going to stagger them next to each other. So we're going to put some glue just on the tips of this piece all the way around, and then we're going to set this down to where the tips line up with the middle of the piece below it right here. So we're going to put this one in there just like that. Then we're just going to continue the process. We're going to put the glue on the tips and put the tips in the middle of the circle below it. Same thing with the glue on the tips, and we'll work our way up. Until we get the bowl completely assembled. Now when you're putting this together and actually putting the glue on it, make sure you're keeping everything straight as you're putting it together. Then go ahead and glue the top one, put a little finish on it, and you're good to go. So there's a very simple project. Definitely can be accomplished by a beginning scroller. And if you set this out at the front of your craft booth, people will pick it up and touch it. And if you can get them to touch them, you can get them to buy them. So probably have an hour's worth of time invested in this and practically no material cost at all. You can build this out of scraps you have left over from other projects. So you could probably sell this piece for anywhere from $10 to $20 and make a nice little return. Okay, that's it for today. This project is dedicated to Carolyn. She sent me an email that she would really like to put this pattern together and wanted a few tips on how to do it. So Carolyn, this one's for you. Go to my website at www.scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com where you can find this pattern and many more. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.